Tonight's story is called The Communication Wand, a tale about how listening can change everything. In the lands of the tribes of Matagi Krigare, among the vast prairies, beneath a boundless sky and trembling aspen forests, lived a wise old druidess named Ailbhe. She was known throughout the village of Wonka for her deep understanding of human nature. Ailbhe spent her days tending to the needs of people, offering her wisdom to those who asked. Nearby lived an elderly couple, Beathan and Braenna, who, despite their love for one another, struggled with communication. Beathan was a skilled blacksmith working in a fiery forge. The loud, constant noise of the forge and the ringing hammer striking the anvil day after day had slowly dulled his hearing. And his wife Braenna, once vibrant and full of stories, often found herself lost in contemplation, battling the clouds of her mind, daydreaming. They had two very different love languages and also ways of communication to get their needs met. One evening, Braenna came into the smithy while Beathan hammered at his horseshoe, the forge roaring beside him. He stopped, and then she asked him to come inside and sit with her by the fire. He nodded, believing that he understood, but he did not hear the weight carried beneath her words. Later, her voice sharpened with hurt. "You never listen." Well, Beathan bristled. "I was listening," he insisted, and he repeated her words exactly. "But you didn't answer," she replied. But to him, silence meant patience, or to tell her to be patient, and to her, silence felt like a dismissal. On another day, Beathan gestured towards some unfinished tasks and mentioned the unmended fence, the herbs still were unbundled, and the dishes from the supper were not yet put away. And he started putting the dishes away, grumbling with force. But to him, his voice carried frustration, not judgment. But Braenna heard only failure and his disappointment in her. "You don't see how hard I try, and I do other things that you do not see," she said, starting to retreat inward. "And you don't see how stressed and worried I am," he answered, his words growing louder as his hearing failed him. What neither one could pinpoint was the underlying truth. He was afraid of losing his financial stability, and she was afraid of losing herself in always helping everyone else and not doing her own thing. Aware of their struggles, Ailbhe decided it was time to come and share the secret of the communication staff or wand with them, a tool passed down through many generations before the new way split the tribes into individual families. Tribes used it to foster how to properly listen in children and for understanding and unity among the adults. When there were many, the staff outpowered the wand wielder to speak if held up. So one misty morning, she wielded her staff and invited Beathan and Braenna to the sacred circle of stones, which were hidden in a grove in the prairies, away from those who had desecrated. There, Ailbhe presented them with a beautifully carved wand, anointed with symbols of harmony and understanding. "This is an energy wand," she declared, "a magical tool that is consecrated to guide you to see the eyes of another. With curiosity, Beathan and Braenna listened as Ailbhe explained the wisdom of tribal listening. Holding the stick meant that one could speak from the heart and convey their deepest truths. The other could only listen with open ears and mind, and had to try and see the world through the speaker's eyes, responding to the other's true feelings, even if it differed from their own perception. And the only responses allowed were questions of curiosity or nods of understanding, or repeating back the other's story in their own words to see if their understanding was correct. Moved by Ailbhe's wisdom, Beathan took the wand first, his rough fingers tracing the patterns etched upon it. As he spoke, his words were slow, filled with the wisdom accumulated over decades. He shared his longing for peace and understanding, his frustration with his own aging body and senses. And Braenna listened, silent yet engaged, seeing the love in his eyes, and finally comprehending his struggles and any goals that he had had. When it was Braenna's turn to hold the wand, she thanked him for sharing and gave words of acknowledgement, not her own feelings, on his story. She then put the wand down and paused to collect her thoughts. When she picked up the wand again, her voice trembled with emotion, and she revealed how her thoughts often danced away, sometimes beyond her control, leaving her worn and unsure of how to bridge the gap of what she felt was wasted time. So she would go for nightly walks. Beathan, with newfound patience, listened to the symphony of her thoughts, recognizing with them the gentle spirit of the woman that he loved. And in the days that followed, the communication wand became a cherished part of their lives, and they went on to use it for things that they needed and could not communicate without fighting before, until finally it got to those old resentments, the old repeated arguments that were never resolved. And when these same conflicts arose, Ailbhe brought forth the wand, not as a punishment, but as a pause. So when the wand got to his hand, Beathan spoke of fear, not anger, fear of becoming useless, fear that his failing senses made him a burden. Braenna did not defend. She reflected his words back to him slowly, carefully. So you're not ever angry with me? You're scared of being left behind. Ah. And when she held the wand, she spoke of exhaustion, not laziness, of thoughts that were scattered like startled birds, of the shame that grew when she could not keep pace with time. And Beathan did not fix, he just listened. And for the first time, he understood that her stillness was not avoidance. The time to not get things done, it was survival. And through it, they found a renewed sense of connection, understanding unspoken, and love reaffirmed in each gentle exchange. And thus, within the lush landscape of the prairies, Beathan and Braenna learned that with patience and openness, even the strongest barriers could be softened, allowing the light of love and understanding to shine through once more. And so, the secret of communication continued to pass through the hearts of those who listened, and a testament to the magic found not just in words, but in the spaces between them with listening. So the moral of this story is the power of listening with empathy and speaking with intention bridges communication gaps for all people. If this story made you think about how people listen to one another, you might enjoy the Communication Cauldron gatherings every Tuesday night on Zoom.